Alrighty, so I think I'm going to show you guys for my next collection, my CD collection. Now this one is relatively small compared to the others. It's you know, I know a lot of you guys probably didn't know that I like collecting CDs, and I was considering maybe doing some album reviews or maybe ranking some albums by a band from worst to best, but yeah. Let's get started. First up, Lord of the Rings motion picture soundtrack. Yeah, all 3 movies. Haven't listened to this yet. It's still in the plastic, but you know, I really like Lord of the Rings. Really like listening to scores like this. Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King. Yeah. Next up is The Greatest Showman, the soundtrack. It's a pretty good soundtrack. You know, the only thing I don't really like is the music sounds a bit too modern. For a movie that's set in like the, you know, late 1800s, early 1900s, I really don't like the music just sounds really modern, and I don't really like that. Next up is Star Wars A New Hope. This is score, motion picture score. I promise I have more than just scores. I just have a bunch of scores. Goes through just about all of them. Listen to this a little bit, pretty cool. Then we get Star Wars A New Hope, another version. Oops, my bad. One of these my parents had. One of these was given to me by my grandparents. It's pretty cool. I think it might be the exact same, actually. Oh, let me look. Oh my gosh, they are the exact same. I did not know that. Well, cool. Next up we have Top Gun, the soundtrack. This is once again just something my parents had that I just kind of got over time. Haven't listened to this, you know, I like the song Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins. Thought the movie was alright. If you looked at my collection, you could tell I think that movie's overrated. Next up begins the actual albums, but this first album is like nothing like the rest of the albums I have. It's Mike Cross Live and Kickin', it's a country album. I've listened to all this, it's pretty funny. You know, it's more of the musician himself. He's a country musician, but he's not trying to be serious. He's being very silly. He's being very hilarious. And you know, this is one of those albums you can listen to and laugh out loud to. Now we get into actual stuff I like to collect. And I'm going to do them in alphabetical order, and if the band is the same, by release date. First up is All American Rejects. Move Along. Has a little crack right there. I'm not too proud of that. And one right there. Stinks. I like this album and I like this band. My favorite song on it's probably Move Along, number 3. Listen to this a little bit. You know, I like the early 2000s pop-punk vibe. Yeah. Next up is Blink-182, Greatest Hits. Like Blink-182. I'm sorry about the glare. Wish there was a way I could turn that down. What does that say? Oh, it's just the Geffen Records. Has pretty much all the songs, all the good songs from Cheshire Cat all the way to Self-Titled. Doesn't have anything from Neighborhoods or from California. But, you know, pretty good CD, very enjoyable. Next up is Good Charlotte, The Young and the Hopeless. This might be in my top 5 favorite albums ever. You know, I bought this album because it had songs like The Anthem and Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous and The Young and the Hopeless on it that I liked. But then as I started listening to it, I realized I like just about every album on this song. You know, Emotionless, it's a sad song, but it's so touching too because it's so unique in its subject matter. Next up is Dookie by Green Day. Now I'm ashamed of this, but it's not entirely my fault. It broke, but it's not entirely my fault. These parts don't turn. Like, they're glued shut, so when I opened it, it accidentally broke. And the CD is in, the actual CD is in this. But I still have the case, you know, the case is cool. And I listen to the CD every now and then. This is the first Green Day CD I ever got, and so that's why it's nostalgic, and also because I love Green Day. Next up is Green Day, Nimrod. It's a decent album, you know, it has Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, which is one of their most famous songs. It might be. It's probably their most famous song outside of, like, the punk rock people. I like how it has them. It has 2 presidents on the front, Eisenhower, and I can't remember who that one is. There's Billy Joe, there's Mike. Where's Trey? There's Trey. It's pretty cool. Nice Guys Finish Last, Hitchin' a Ride, The Grouch, all those are pretty good songs. The middle of the album, though, that's where it gets a little just, I don't know, it's just not as memorable as the beginning and end. Next up is Warning by Green Day. This is a very underrated album. The first song is kind of weird. The first song, Warning, I'll admit, I think that was an attempt to be, like, so different that it's, yeah. But then, you know, Deadbeat Holiday, Church on Sunday, Waiting. You know, most of the time, the only ones people like are these last three, Waiting, Minority, and Macy's Day Parade. But I like Deadbeat Holiday, I like Church on Sunday, I like Castaway. Yeah. Next up, favorite album of all time, American Idiot by Green Day. Got a crack right there, which I wish CD cases were not so fragile. Track list, Billy Joe, Mike, Trey. Yeah, I love just about every song on this album. American Idiot, Jesus of Suburbia, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. The only things I like, songs 5 through 8, they're good, but they're a little bit of a dip in quality, but it makes up for it because songs 10 through 13 are awesome. Letter Bomb through What's Her Name, awesome, all of them. I might make a video where I take every song on an album and rank it from worst to best, and I would have to do that with this one. Next up is 21st Century by Green Day. I love this album artwork, just the, you know, it ties in with the themes of anarchy and riots and stuff. That has, you know, Song of the Century and the 3 acts. Some pretty good songs on this album. Know Your Enemy. I really like the 4th track, Viva La Gloria. Christian's Inferno. It's the closest Green Day ever comes to being, like, heavy metal. Peacemaker, a cool acoustic ballad. 21 Guns, one of my favorite Green Day songs ever. So yeah. And next up, last Green Day CD, promise, Revolution Radio by Green Day. This isn't in a typical CD case. Plus side is it's not as fragile. Downside, yeah, that can fall out really easily. This might be my 3rd favorite album by Green Day after American Idiot and Dookie. I like just about all the songs on it. The only one I'm not crazy about is Somewhere Now and Youngblood. The only ones I'm not crazy about are Somewhere Now and Youngblood. Yeah, but all the other ones I think are really good. Next up is 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance. I only listened to this once, and I found it... Gerard Way would hate me if I said this, but it's a bit too emo. A little too sad and too tragic, and... Well, no, that's not right. It's a bit too whiny. I'm okay with sad and tragic, but, you know, the only songs I really like on are I'm Not Okay, I Promise, and, to some extent, The Ghost of You. I should go back and re-listen to this, though, because... I don't know, I just haven't... I don't think I gave it a fair shot, so I will. Next up is Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, probably my 2nd favorite album ever. I like just about all the songs up here. The only one I don't really like is Sleep. I mean, it's good in its own right, it's just, I think it's a step down in quality from the rest of the album. I love the story of it, I like rock operas a lot, and I love the artwork, too. This is definitely the best drumming that MCR ever had by Bob Breyer. The rest of the other drummers are just kind of eh. So, moving on. Danger Days, The True Lives of Fabulous Killjoys by My Chemical Romance. This is cool. This is a, you know, very different style of album by the rest of the band. You know, it's very pop punk, a hint of disco, very Japanese. There's lots of keyboard. You know, but it's good. It's good. It's just different. That's why I think a lot of people don't like it. It's just because it's so different from the rest of MCR's discography. I love the song Na Na Na. I like Bulletproof Heart, Sing, Planetary Go. And just like Green Day's Nimrod, I think the middle of the album is where it gets a little eh. But, you know, the beginning's good and the ending's really good. You know, Scarecrow, Destroya, The Kids from Yesterday. What a great song. I wanted for them to play that during the graduation slideshow, but they wouldn't, and I'm just kind of like, eh. Goodbye, Dr. Death, Vampire Money. So, yeah. Next up is Sum 41, All Killer No Filler. I really like Sum 41, and it's really hard to find their CDs not online. This is their first technical album. Some people count Half Hour of Power as an album. I don't. I think that's an extended play. So this is the first album they technically released. Very silly, very pop-punky. This is before they went, like, straight metal. You know, my favorite songs on there are probably Fat Lip, In Too Deep, Handle This. That's right, Makes No Difference isn't up here. Motivation's pretty good. And I like Pain for Pleasure because it's so different from the rest of the album. You know, the rest of the album's super pop-punky, super summery, very lighthearted. And then there's just a metal song at the end of the album, which I love. Next up is Sum 41's 13 Voices. This is the most recent album they released, so I have the first and the last and don't have any in the middle. This is When They Are. They're straight metal in this album. There's a hint of punk. The bass lines are very punk. And I have the extended edition, so it comes with the extra songs, Better Days, Black Eyes, and acoustic versions of War and Breaking the Chain. I like just about all the songs up here. The only one the one that I think is the weakest might be War. You know, the first time I listened to it, I didn't expect it for them to go full metal. I expected them to stay, so it took me by surprise. But then when the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And so, you know, when I first listened to it, War was my favorite song up there. Now it's probably my least favorite. Yeah. Up next is Queen's Greatest Hits. I do not know why Bohemian Rhapsody is not on here. I don't know if that was a joke or what, but it has, you know, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, Another One Bites the Dust, all their other famous songs. I do not know why. This is another thing that was my parents', but then I just kind of inherited it over time. I haven't listened to it all the way through, but I should. Next up is the Blue Album by Weezer. This might be my third favorite album of all time. The only songs I'm not too big on are the last two, Holiday and Only in Dreams. I love the rest though. My Name is Jonas just starts off the album with such an energy. You know, it has some of their more classic songs, Buddy Holly, the Sweater Song, Say It Ain't So, In the Garage. You know, this is a great album right here. I'll definitely have to make a whole video talking about this. And then last but not least is Pinkerton by Weezer. This is their second album. It's a pretty cool album. I like El Scorcho and Pink Triangle. Those are my two favorites, but I also like The Good Life. That's a good song. I like Tired of Sets. That's a good song. I haven't listened to this but maybe 4 or 5 times, and I should listen to it more. But yeah, it's a good, you know, solid album. Decent attempt as a second one, and it's the last one that has Matt Sharp as a bassist, and he was the best bassist that Weezer ever had. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but there's a picture of a Japanese woman. There you go, you can kind of see it in the frame. Ignore me. Anyway, so yeah, that's about it. That's my entire CD collection. Like I said, small compared to the others, but still pretty good. I'll have to start making videos where I talk more about albums and stuff, and I would love to start doing that. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and bye.